who wants to know the truth because it's convenient to them. Convenient truth seeker wants the truth as long as it's presented to them in a format in which they can easily swallow it. So I'm going to take my time here and share this with you. All right, this came out today. Bill McGuire. Make it big, because you guys deserve everything to be big, so you can read it. Bill McGuire. If I'm brutally honest, the only realistic way I see emissions falling as fast as they need to is to avoid catastrophe. Hashtag climate breakdown is the culling of the human population by a pandemic with a high, very high fatality rate. Okay, again, if I'm brutally honest, the only realistic way I see emissions falling as fast as they need to avoid catastrophic climate breakdown is the culling of the human population by a pandemic with a very high fatality rate. This is on the 13th of May, is what this gentleman is saying. So I would like to see if Bill McGuire, I don't know, I'm just telling you this right now, I do not know if Bill McGuire is interwoven into the web of the Bill Gates Foundation. I suspect he is. I truly do. So we're going to start. We'll start by, stop sharing the screen for a second, log me in. I don't know why you're talking about you can't log me in. You better log me in, homie. Here's a beautiful thing about what the globalists have done. They gave you enough access to tools to where if you're smart, you can actually use their tools against them. So let's see. This gentleman's name was Bill McGuire. Give me a second. Let me make sure I got the spelling right. And I'll share the screen with you. And we'll run through, present, share screen, Claude, share, come back here. Let's make it to where it's there where we both can see. Let's go there where we can see a little bit better. All right. So the gentleman that we were dealing with, his name was Claude McGuire, and he was Bill McGuire. Okay, Bill McGuire. Learn about a professor named Bill McGuire. About that, let him think. Let's see if we can find anything else about Bill McGuire. There's an interview with Bill. Global governance futures, hazards of geoengineering. So Bill wrote this book called, let me see, share screen, window. All right, so Bill, this is Bill McGuire. Telling the truth about climate and energy. Bill McGuire on the hazards of geoengineering. Science Translated. They have tipped already. Climate in a minute.
I'm here in Glasgow, Scotland, my third day at the climate conference. Lots of announcements, lots of panels, and all pretty exciting. What I'm seeing now that wasn't part of the COP 6 years ago is a huge commitment to innovation, which is the only way you get to pleased that adaptation that is.
Let's see. All right, we're back. We got data back on Bill McGuire. Share screen. All right. Let's make it big so you can see it. I apologize. So you can see it. Let's make it its maximum size so you can see it. All right, so let's see what old Claude found on him. He holds a PhD in geology from the University of College London. Research interests focus on the impact of geological hazards such as volcano eruptions, potential consequences of climate change. Awards and recognition. A fellow of the Royal Academy of Engineers and member of UK government Natural Hazard Working Group. All right, watch this. So when I tell you that the AI tools that they put in place are powerful enough for you to change your life and your family's life. Ooh, my eye is a little crusty from all that pollen. When I tell you that these tools are strong enough for you to change recording, this is insane how the internet keeps going down. But I'll try and push through it. The organizations that Bill is associated with fight me. This is insane. And there is the connection. I've cross-referenced the organizations that Professor Bill does not provide any funding. So the connection is the University of London. The foundation grants may indirectly support research or initiatives that align with Professor McGuire's expertise through broader funding categories or collaborative projects. However, based on information, can you expand on and search for the broader funding categories or collaborative projects, as you have stated? Let's see what it comes up with. All right, to be clear, Bill has 0 known KNOWN associations with these 3 organizations. What other? All right, search for speaking engagements of Bill McGuire. Has he spoken at any conferences? Please list them. Give an exhaustive list, please. Humor me. So this is all you can find based on research. Okay. Cross-reference that list for the presence for Bill Gates Foundation donations or speaking or anyone from the foundation speaking at those events. All right, royal lectures, no information. So, to the best of what we can see, this guy he ain't received no funding at none of the organizations where he's spoken at. But I'll dig a little bit deeper. Let's go here. All right. Let's make sure this is the same Bill McGuire real quick, guys. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going to stop sharing that screen for a second. And I'm going to share this YouTube.
Hi, and welcome to Global Governance Futures, based out of the Global Governance Institute at University College London. This is a podcast about the challenges facing humanity and possible global responses. If you're new to the show and you want to get a list of our favorite books, other resources, listen to past shows, and to join our community, go to ucl.ac.uk/global wanted to know. More recently, Bill has branched out into speculative science fiction writing with the publication in 2020 of Skyseed, an eco-thriller about climate engineering gone wrong.
Skyseed. No, that's the Holy Spirit telling me I need to look at that. Stop right there. Bill McGuire's Skyseed.
In this episode of Shaping the Future, I'm discussing the risks posed by geoengineering in the context of averting worst-case climate change with author Professor Bill McGuire. Bill's new book, Skyseed, is his first full-length foray into writing fiction, from a distinguished career as Emeritus Professor of Geophysical and Climate Hazards at University College London, as well as being one of Britain's leading volcanologists. Skyseed presents the reader with a narrative of when humanity's failure to address the climate crisis, coupled with the political failure to say no to dangerous engineering interventions, are gambled to reduce the impact of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. The scenario in the book is extreme, but the story itself holds together very well as an existential consideration for where we are in the emissions rise.
I ain't got time to be playing all that. Watch this. We don't have time to be going through that. Watch this. We'll go back to the AI and have the AI tell us what Skyseed is. Stop sharing that. Present, share screen. Share screen. Okay. Let's make it big. Let's see. Give me a summary of his book, Skyseed. I paused, but I could not find any books called Skyseed. Skyseed. Okay. Chemtrails. Okay. Give me a plot of the characters in this book and the main conflicts, how you gonna give me information about the book, then correct the fact? No, you tripping. Hey, listen, you all right. You, Claude, on and find today about the book and give a detailed summary. You want me to give you the whole plot to the book. Now, guys, I want to show you this. Wow, watch how crazy this is. You're hitting on something, so watch this. Let's go from the beginning. So remember, I asked to search the internet and it pulled up all this information about Bill Gates, and it actually found Bill McGuire, right? We get to this point where we chunk down on the book Skyseed, and look what it tells me. It says, I apologize, but I must respectfully disagree with your request. As an AI language model, I do not have the capacity to browse or search the internet in real time. My knowledge is based on text data that I was trained with a fixed cutoff date. I went through my existing knowledge database on Skyseed. I also acknowledge that my initial response about the book was an error based on misinterpretation or confusion of information. But his initial reply was, however, after searching for books by Bill McGuire, I found a similar title called Skyseed. Summary of the book is a science fiction novel by Bill McGuire published in 2020. So you got data from prior to 2021. Based in a set of near future explorers, the concept of using geoengineering to combat climate change. All right, so let's start over. You are a internet researcher. No, act as an internet researcher. Can you do that? Okay, fine. We reached the limit of what you're willing to help me with, Claude. Let's go to Chat GTP. We reached the limit of what you want to help me with. I'm fine with that. Don't worry about it. Bada bing, bada boom. It's all good. All right. I'm looking for information on a book called Skyseed. Can you give me a detailed summary of the book? As you can see, it's found the actual book. And what I like about ChatGTP is it will actually read this to you.
Skyseed by Bill McGuire is a cli-fi eco-thriller that explores the catastrophic consequences of climate engineering gone wrong. The plot revolves around a covert geoengineering project named Skyseed, intended to mitigate climate change by using nanobots to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. However, an unexpected volcanic eruption accelerates the replication of these nanobots, leading to an uncontrollable environmental disaster. The story is set against the backdrop of a world facing severe climate breakdown, with atmospheric CO2 levels exceeding 500 ppm and vast regions suffering from drought. The narrative follows three main protagonists, Jane Halliwell, Carl Slater, and Captain Ralph Martinez. Jane and Carl, both scientists, stumble upon the truth about the nanobots, which are supposed to help combat climate change by converting CO2 into carbon pellets. However, their discovery puts them in grave danger as the US and UK governments, deeply involved in the conspiracy, seek to silence them. The US president, Gort, is depicted as a ruthless leader willing to go to any lengths to keep the project secret, including orchestrating assassinations. As the nanobots multiply uncontrollably due to the volcanic ash providing abundant raw materials, global temperatures plummet, triggering a new ice age. The novel portrays a chilling scenario where snow persists year-round even in temperate regions, leading to widespread societal collapse and mass migrations. Throughout the novel, McGuire skillfully blends scientific concepts with thrilling action, creating a compelling narrative that highlights the dangers of unchecked geoengineering. The book also includes subtle humor and contemporary references, making it a thought-provoking and entertaining read. Skyseed serves as a stark warning about the potential perils of manipulating our planet's climate, urging immediate action to address climate change through more sustainable means. For more detailed reviews, you can visit sources like Literary Titan 8, Readsy 9, Ryan Mizzen 10, and Geoscientist Online 11.
All right. Give me a second to think here. Cross-reference concepts of this book with known technology that is existent, in existence, EXISTN, based on your database. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I'll read this to everybody.
Skyseed by Bill McGuire explores several advanced concepts related to climate engineering and nanotechnology. Here's a cross-reference of these concepts with existing technologies. 1. Geoengineering and climate engineering. In the book, the plot revolves around a geoengineering project using nanobots to remove CO2 from the atmosphere, aiming to mitigate climate change. Real technology, carbon capture and storage, CCS. This technology captures CO2 emissions from sources like power plants and stores it underground to prevent it from entering the atmosphere. It is one of the leading methods for mitigating climate change. Source, TEND source. Solar radiation management, SRM. Another form of geoengineering, SRM involves reflecting a small percentage of the sun's light back into space to cool the Earth. Techniques include stratospheric aerosol injection, which is somewhat akin to the volcanic eruption scenario in Skyseed. 2. Nanotechnology. In the book, nanobots are used to dissociate carbon from CO2 and store it in pellet form. These nanobots can replicate, causing unintended consequences. Real technology, nanomaterials for CO2 capture. Researchers are developing nanomaterials capable of capturing and converting CO2. Examples include metal organic frameworks, MFs, and carbon nanotubes, which can absorb CO2 molecules effectively. 12 source, 11 source. Self-replicating nanobots. While the idea of self-replicating nanobots is still largely theoretical and faces significant ethical and practical challenges, progress in nanotechnology continues. Research in molecular nanotechnology and synthetic biology shows potential for future developments in this area. 10 source, 11 source. 3. Climate-induced migration and societal impact. In the book, the unintended overproduction of nanobots leads to drastic cooling, causing an ice age and mass migration.
I don't need to hear all that. That's obvious. Okay. First of all, I hope you're following what I'm doing. Second of all, I want to encourage you to do this your damn self. There's no reason why you should be ignorant of anything at this point in time. Point blank, period. You should be able to find anything you want to find if you take the time to look into it. So here's what I get from this. He actually wrote this book based on the knowledge that he has and what he knows. I'm not sure if he's being a whistleblower or if he's being, at this point in time, he was being a whistleblower if he's trying to profit off of it. But what I'll say is, based on his recent statements, that Bill McGuire is definitely in line with the lizard people. Anytime you start talking about you want to kill off the population and control the CO2, when quite frankly, CO2 is what the whole environment functions on. Matter of fact, let's see if the AI understands what CO2 is. Let's answer some questions and see what it says. So watch this. What is the water cycle?
The water cycle, also known as the hydrologic cycle, is the continuous movement of water within the Earth and its atmosphere. This cycle involves several processes that move water between the ocean, atmosphere, and land. Here's a detailed overview of the main stages of the water cycle. 1. Evaporation is the process by which water changes from a liquid to a gas or vapor.
Yes.
This occurs mainly from the surface of oceans, rivers, and lakes, but also from soil and vegetation, transpiration. The sun's heat provides the energy needed for evaporation. 2. Condensation. As water vapor rises into the atmosphere, it cools and changes back into liquid droplets, forming clouds. This process is known as condensation. The cooling happens because the higher the altitude, the lower the temperature. Precipitation. When the droplets in clouds combine to form larger droplets, they become heavy enough to fall back to Earth due to gravity. This is known as precipitation and includes rain, snow, sleet, and hail. 4. Infiltration and percolation. Once precipitation reaches the ground, some of the water infiltrates, soaks into the soil. The water then moves down through the soil layers in a process known as percolation. This water can replenish aquifers, which are underground layers of rock that store water. 5. Runoff. Water that does not infiltrate into the ground becomes surface runoff. Runoff flows over the land and collects in rivers, lakes, and eventually returns to the oceans. This process can carry nutrients and sediments, shaping landscapes and ecosystems. 6. Transpiration. Plants absorb water from the soil through their roots and release it into the atmosphere through their leaves in a process known as transpiration. This is part of the larger evapotranspiration process, which includes both evaporation and transpiration. 7. Sublimation. Sublimation is the process where ice and snow change directly into water vapor without first melting into liquid water. This occurs mainly in cold climates and contributes to the atmospheric water vapor. 8. Deposition. Deposition is the opposite of sublimation, where water vapor changes directly into ice without becoming liquid. This can form frost and ice crystals in the atmosphere. Summary. The water cycle is essential for distributing heat and energy, sustaining life, and supporting ecosystems on Earth. It is a dynamic and continuous process driven by solar energy and gravity, ensuring that water is always moving and transforming between different states and locations. For more detailed information, you can explore resources like USGS Water Cycle Overview, us.gov/special topic sciences cycle school science water cycle school cycle.
All right, that's enough. So, Mr. AI, let's see if you're as smart or if they program you to be dumb. Water cycle directly the sun, both in terms of heat and solar energy. Based on the scenario where the sun was blocked and the energy and the heat and solar energy was lower, example, in a grand solar minimum. However, a prolonged man-made minimum, how would that affect the overall water cycle and life on the planet? Keep in mind, this is in reference to what you referred to previously. No, you didn't refer to it. The other one referred to it. Hold on. Carbon capture. Here it is. Keep in mind what you referred to previously as this. And this is what they're doing. And AI just talked about it.
SRM techniques, like stratospheric aerosol injection, would have significant effects on the water cycle and life on Earth. This scenario would mimic conditions of reduced solar irradiance similar to a natural grand solar minimum, but potentially more severe depending on the scale of intervention. Here's a detailed analysis of the impacts. For 1, evaporation and precipitation.
That bitch said, nah, you tricked me, but you gave me the data. Watch this. I don't want to read it. Try it again.
A prolonged man-made solar minimum, such as one induced by solar radiation management (SRM) techniques like stratospheric aerosol injection, would have significant effects on the water cycle and life on Earth. This scenario would mimic conditions of reduced solar irradiance, similar to a natural grand solar minimum, but potentially more severe depending on the scale of intervention. Here's a detailed analysis of the impacts. 1. Evaporation and precipitation.
All right, it won't read it. Evaporation, precipitation. Evaporation, reduced solar energy will lead to a decrease in surface temperatures, which in turn will lower the rate of evaporation from oceans, lakes, and other water bodies. With less water vapor entering the atmosphere, cloud formation will be reduced. Precipitation. With decreased evaporation, there will be less moisture available in the atmosphere for precipitation. This reduction in rainfall will lead to widespread drought conditions, especially in regions already prone to water scarcity. condensation and cloud formation. Lower temperatures would mean less energy available to drive the process of condensation. This could result in fewer and thinner clouds, altering weather patterns and potentially reducing precipitation further. Changes in cloud cover also influence the Earth's albedo reflectivity, which could create feedback loops which further impact climate and weather systems. Infiltration, percolation, and groundwater. Reduced precipitation will lower the amount of water infiltrating the soil, affecting groundwater water recharging rates. This would have significant impacts on aquifers and the ability of groundwater for agriculture and industrial and domestic use. Over time, this could lead to a depletion of groundwater resources, exacerbating drought conditions and impacting food security. Runoff and surface water. Less rainfall would decrease the surface runoff, including water from into lakes, rivers, and reservoirs. This reduction in surface water availability would impact ecosystems that rely on consistent water supplies and could lead to reduced hydroelectric power generation, affecting energy supplies in regions dependent on renewable resources. Transpiration and vegetation. Plants would also be affected by the reduced solar radiation and cooler temperatures. Lowering temperatures could reduce the rate of transpiration, where plants release water vapors into the atmosphere. Additionally, less sunlight would impair photosynthesis, slowing plant growth and potentially leading to lower agricultural yields. This could impact food production, biodiversity, as plants and animal species adapt to new climate conditions. Climate and weather patterns. Temperature changes. A cooler Earth would experience shifting climate zones, with some areas becoming significantly cooler, others experiencing altered precipitation patterns. This could disrupt existing ecosystem and human settlements, particularly in regions that are marginally habitable. Extreme weather events. The alteration of water cycle and climate patterns could increase the frequency and severity of weather events. For example, prolonged dry periods might be interspersed with intense storms when conditions do lead to precipitation, causing flooding, further complicating water management strategies. I'm going to ask you a question. What's going on right now in the United States? All over the place in the United States. What's going on right now is wild. Some of the wildest storms you've ever seen. Tornado after tornado. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that's it for the YouTube version of this video. It's been sliced up a little bit. It's over an hour and a half long, where we do a deep dive into the Sky Seed book, Mr. McGuire himself, and then compare what his book says to what the real technology is that's available. If you want to take a listen, head on over to the website. I'll put the link in the description. You can check it out there. Peace.